guys, this is Josh and Sarah Bowmar with Bowmar Bowhunting, and the most common question we get asked all the time is how do you get sponsored in the hunting industry?
Yeah, we get asked that question quite a bit, and we were just actually working on our own website, the gear list, everything else. We're like, what a better time to film this video to help you guys understand, one, what a sponsorship is, two, why a company would partake in a sponsorship, the different levels of sponsorship, how to get sponsored, what steps to take. All of that will be answered in this video for you guys.
So for starters, what is a sponsorship and why would a company do one?
There are 3 different levels of sponsorship. The first one is discounted product. The company says, hey, here's a 30% off code, 50% off code, whatever the case may be, for you as the user to purchase discounted product from the company. And in tandem with that, they usually might provide you a coupon code and say, hey, use code Bowmar Bowhunting or use code Steven or John, whatever, and you will make X% of the sale every single time someone, a follower, friend, family, uses that coupon code. And that's a good way for companies to gauge your influence and the products that you can potentially sell to them. The second level of sponsorship would be free product, and then the third level would be free product with financial or monetary compensation.
So now that you know the 3 levels of sponsorship, the next question you need to know the answer to is why a company would even do a sponsorship to begin with. Every single one of these companies are businesses, obviously, and every single sponsorship is an investment into the person that they're sponsoring. So every investment with any company they expect to make money on. Not break even or lose money, they always want to make money. So understanding that, you need to be able to bring to a company a plan that you can help them make money based on the sponsorship that you're wanting to obtain. And if you don't have a plan to be able to do that, you're probably not going to be sponsored. So that's just the way that it works. So what's the natural progression for most people is they start in at the entry-level sponsorship where you get discounted product, then you kind of move your way up to free product, and then from there, you know, if you can prove to the company that you're making them money, then perhaps and only then can you ask for financial compensation.
Right, and I think it's also very important to mention and to be aware that companies have budgets. They have marketing budgets, they have product budgets, they have budgets for all the different facets that make up a business. And a business is in business to make money. That's the only reason anyone starts a business, is to make a profit. So I think there is a misconception in the hunting industry that these companies just have this unlimited pot of gold of money and they can just throw out money whenever they want, which in reality is not the case. So now that you know what a sponsorship is, the different levels, and why a company would invest into one, what are the steps now to actually become sponsored?
Hey, that's what everybody wants to know.
That's what everyone wants to know. So our first recommendation, and I think the most obvious, would be you need to be a fan and a user of the company and the product that you are wanting to be sponsored by. So let's just use bows, for example. You need to be using Hoyt bows in order to be sponsored by Hoyt. That just, it seems simple, but we wanted to make sure that you guys understand you need to be a fan and a user of the product. You need to be a good representative of the company. So if Hoyt wanted to look into you and they get on your Instagram and they get on your Facebook and they see you partying and drinking and using profanity and being negative or bashing other people, chances are they're not going to want to invest in you as a company.
Yeah, because you're not a good representation for the brand.
Right.
You know, you always have to use that filter process. If you own the company of a successful brand, who would you want to be a part of that? And you want that person to always have a great representation of the mission statement, the brand, and what it's all about.
Yeah, social media is very powerful, so just make sure you're using it in a positive and proactive way. So that would be our first step. Use the product, be positive.
Yeah, and you know what goes along with that is you can't go to a company and say, what can you do for me? You have to go to a company and say, look what I've done for you already.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to reach out to a camo company or a bow company or a sight company, obviously, like Sarah said, using the product is important, but being successful too. You know, you don't have to necessarily shoot the biggest deer every single year, but you need to be shooting multiple deer. You need to be filming all of those hunts. And it's not fun to film. It really isn't.
Hard.
It's really hard.
And sometimes you go home empty-handed because you couldn't get the animal on film. And the camera, the audio, there's a lot of different factors about filming, but you just need to be making sure that you're always bringing a camera into the woods.
Film first, hunt second. It's the camera needs to capture the shot before you make it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's important. Literally have to have content for all these companies to display, you know, what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those things and you reach out to a company, they're going to ask for those things, and then you cannot be in a situation where you're like, well, it's coming.
Right.
Well, I just started. They're like, okay, well, come back to us whenever you've been doing this for a while.
And I don't think there's anyone on the face of this earth that's a successful hunter and sponsored that doesn't film their hunts.
I don't know of anybody.
Literally none.
Content is the winner of everything. You have to have content. That doesn't mean you need to go out there and spend $20,000 on camera equipment.
You don't need 5 red epics and 12 people following you around.
Right. You know, I started out filming and I didn't have any money. I just grew up out in the sticks, probably like a lot of you that are watching this. And I bought the camera that I could afford. And it was a little Handycam camera that filmed in HD. And that was, my gosh, probably 15 years ago, you know, and it's kind of crazy to think about that, but I always had a camera on me. So if you're not filming your hunts and you're trying to get sponsored, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah, you're wasting your time.
You need to film them. And you don't have to have a show. Sarah and I technically don't have a TV show. You know, we have YouTube and we just post our stuff on YouTube.
So, and there's also, you know, don't think like, oh, well, I can't pay an editor, I can't pay for a videographer. There are a lot of free software tools online for editing. There's a lot of free YouTube videos on how to edit. Don't make excuses, because there's so much free information and free tutorials out there to where you could learn how to do a lot of these things for free.
You can get a PhD off of YouTube, I promise you. You can. If you guys can't afford Final Cut or Adobe, use iMovie, because it's like $15 on...
I think it's free on your Mac.
It comes free on a Mac, but if you don't have it, it's $15.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure there's even free editing software out there. And you just have to start. You know, a lot of people are trying to get into a position where they're like, well, I'll start filming when I can afford a good camera. Or I'll start editing whenever I can start traveling and hunting and doing more. No, I was filming me shooting rats in the barn with my recurve. It was anything I could film and hunt, I would do. You know, so that's definitely an important step.
And along with filming your hunts, you need to be taking high quality photos. You don't need to go out and spend $1,500 on a photo taking camera. Most of the time your phones will take just as good of a picture as a very expensive camera.
At least for social media.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to take pictures to blow up on a poster, you're going to need a nice camera.
Right.
Yeah, for the most part, your phones will do the job.
Yeah, so a good litmus test for taking photos is, would this be published in a magazine? Is this something that I personally would want to look at or follow on social media? So if you're posting things that you would want to follow, then you're going to gain followers. You're going to gain that influence. So those two things: film your hunt, film all your hunts, and take high quality photos and a lot of content.
Yeah, the photos that are showcasing the companies that you're wanting to work with, and be respectful of the animal. You know, that's another good one. Yeah, because if you are sitting there and there's blood everywhere and the animal's not cleaned up, that is another red flag, because that's not something a company would post.
Right.
You know, so you think about that. An easy way to get noticed is obviously being successful. Take a high quality photo, and that photo is probably a photo that they will share on their own pages, who also have hundreds of thousands of followers. And you're saying, hey, look at this buck that Josh Bowmar killed. And they will use my photo, obviously, post, tag me, and I gain followers, or Bowmar Bowhunting gains followers.
Yep. And
you're getting noticed by these companies. And you keep doing that over and over and over again, you're going to get on their radar.
So the next tip that we can give you guys is to get FaceTime with these companies, that one-on-one interaction. So figure out what company you want to go talk to, figure out what trade show they're going to be at, and go. It might cost you some money.
It will cost money.
Yeah.
It's going to be an investment. You're going to have hotel costs. You're going to have, show costs, travel costs, and that's all an investment into yourself. So if you're going to do that, show up with something to show them.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a chance to meet people that are decision makers, whether you get sponsored or not. And you're not going there with the goal to get sponsored. You're going there just for them to get recognition of your face.
Yep.
And they're going to recognize you if you keep doing that time and time again, and you say, hey, I'm Josh Bowmar, you know, I love your product, here's what I've done with it. Check out this stag I killed in New Zealand. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and kill a stag in New Zealand, but they're going to remember, like, hey, check out this buck I killed. You know, check out this turkey I killed with your product. They're like, oh, cool.
I filmed the whole thing and it's on my YouTube channel. You should check it out. Do you have an email to where I can send you that link? Somehow gain their contact information without specifically saying, I would like to get sponsored. May I please have your email to bombard you and spam you? That's not what you want to do.
No, you lead with content and value. And always remember, value first over money, value over everything. And you say, hey, I know this year I got a lot of hunts planned, and if I'm successful in showcasing your product with this harvest, is there any way that I could send these photos, videos, or anything to an email that you would check?
So going to trade shows might make you uncomfortable. It might put you in a situation where, you know what, you have to skip a football game or you have to skip a basketball game. We went to a trade show 3 days before our wedding because we knew that it would be profitable and we knew that it would be beneficial for us to go. Was it uncomfortable? Yeah.
And we could only go for a day.
Yeah.
1 day.
Yep.
So we traveled, it was, I don't even know where it was. It was like...
we snuck into the ATA show. We technically weren't supposed to be there, but our pro shop had a few extra tickets. They offered them to us because it is an industry-only show. And you know what? We packed up. We said we can only be there for 1 day. We got a hotel room for the night before. We drove through the night. We stayed there. We went to the show all day. And 2 days later, we got married. So that was very stressful for us, but we knew that it was going to be beneficial and extremely important in the long run. So we sucked it up. We spent the money. We went. We invested the time. And we made a lot of great contacts from that show. We didn't walk out of there sponsored. We didn't walk out of there with $100,000 checks. We didn't walk out of there asking for anything. We simply walked out of there with FaceTime and with some emails.
So after you gained their trust and you got their email address, you have to have something to send to them. So you're going to need to be successful in the field. You know, if you live in a state like we do, where we can only kill 1 buck a year, you may have to travel to the next state over and maybe reach out to a relative that lives in a different state. Do whatever you can. Use a friend if you can't afford an outfitter, whatever. But you're going to need to be successful with multiple species, multiple deer, and do your best, you know, delivering that content that we talked about earlier.
The photos, the videos, the hunts that you've already filmed and edited yourself, whatever the case may be, just be able to send them that stuff in a professional way. Make sure you're using your spelling and everything else. I know it seems silly, but if you're a company, you want to sponsor people who can create professional emails and are sending appropriate content and take
just professional content.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So just make sure that you are doing those things.
Once you've done all of this, you know, you've showed the company that you can make them money by professionally providing content for them that they can use themselves to help market their own products. Then and only then can you really ask for financial compensation on top of free product.
Right. Then and only then.
Right.
So we successfully have built one of the largest bow hunting pages on Instagram through the steps we just told you guys what to do. It wasn't a secret. The things that we have done are not a secret. You could literally copy what we do. And
post by post. I mean, you can go back and see from our very first post all the way till now.
Right. We post things that we would want to see ourselves. We edit our own videos. We film majority of our own videos. And then we post those to YouTube. We're not out there paying for likes or paying for followers or anything like that. We just built a following based on content. And going and reaching out to companies, and then companies support us, and then we gain followers from the company because they're reposting the content that we are sharing with you guys. And yes, that costs money. You're going to need to invest in yourself. Josh mentioned earlier, if you live in a state where you can only get 1 deer, and you might need to travel and invest money into the company that you yourself, the brand that you yourself are creating and wanting to be sponsored by. Because you're not going to really influence too many people if you kill 1 thing a year.
Right.
And that's
one turkey, 1 deer. I mean, these companies, you got to realize you're competing against a lot of other people that are all wanting the same marketing dollars.
Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other people. There's a lot of hunters out there, and I think a lot of people's dream is to be sponsored or be a professional hunter or whatever the case. Whatever your specific dream is, that's fine. You just need to be representing yourself in a professional way, providing that professional content to companies, getting FaceTime, understanding that you will need to work you need to work for the company. You need to work your way up through the levels that we talked about, and just be a positive human being. Be an influence, and people will want to follow you.
Right. Remember, chase value, not money. Because once you get the value, the money will come.
Right.
You know, Sarah and I, when we were building our page, we never thought like, oh, once we build it so big, we'll get all these sponsors. We were just like, how can we give more and more value to our fans? And you build a page, like Sarah had mentioned, similar to someone that you follow, then guess what? You'll probably gain the same similar followers that they have.
Right. So, and one last tip that we can give you guys, if you are truly interested in creating, you know, a business in the hunting world or a company or, you know, you as a brand, read business owner books, read entrepreneur books, read marketing books, listen to them on Audible if you don't like reading. Just have that business owner mindset, and then you will further understand what you need to do to work with professional companies that have been around for over 100 years.
Some of them, right?
Right.
Well, that's where Sarah and I had a big advantage, is because we're business owners on our own.
Right.
So we own companies, which we sponsor people for our own businesses. So we understand at a very, very intimate level, obviously, because we own the companies.
Right.
And so we just always put ourselves in their shoes and be like, okay, we understand the process, we understand what they need and what they want. And so if you guys don't have that understanding, like we've tried to obviously deliver that in previous content in this video, but if you don't have that understanding, you got to get the books. Where to go to the self-development sections in Barnes & Noble, go to business sections in Barnes & Noble, whatever you got to do.
So if you did like this video, definitely subscribe to our channel, give it a thumbs up, comment below, whatever you want to do, and just get out there, start making your content, and have fun.
Yep, have fun.